Alright, how you guys doing? My name's Najee. So today I want to talk about coping with character changes because in the comments I'm noticing that people have opinions on the changes for Anji, and I'm sure that if you go to any other characters' videos or any character's hashtag, you'd find the same thing. Obviously, Anji has become completely different with just 3 nerfs. Even if he ends up being better, I practice for hours, well, at least minutes, learning combos and maximizing damage off of rare counter hits and figuring out how to use butterfly Oki, and that has all basically been blown away. So now with a single patch, I have to start over from, okay, not really scratch, but still, I start over from a baseline. I'm a little annoyed to say the least, and I think you guys are too. I went through this before with Xrd, and in that game too, there were dramatic differences between seasons. And before that, I went through this with BlazBlue and Persona, though admittedly my coping mechanism for that game was to decide I don't really enjoy the game, so I'll just move on. And thinking back, Dragon Ball FighterZ from season to season were basically completely different games. So anyway, because I went through this before, I'm going to quickly share some tips of how I dealt with it. The 0th tip, before I get to even the tips, it's good to just wait a week. It's good to make judgments after some time has passed, and especially important to get past the initial shock of everything being different. When things are different, you start kind of doomsaying, for lack of a better word, and deciding that, well, this is it, my character's over. And then it turns out after a week, you'll find out that no, nothing's really changed. That's what happened in the mid-season patch, and I'm sure it's going to happen again. And the full extent of the changes might not actually be known for months. We all go through the stages of mourning for a lost character, even if he was a terrible, low-tier character like Anji. And once the dust settles, usually you can look at what we have left with objective eyes. And that leads me to tip number 1. Stick to what hasn't changed and slowly incorporate the new stuff. It's rare for a character to have everything about him change. So play the old game plan as much as you can and incrementally add the new stuff as it gets relevant to whatever game you happen to be playing, whatever match you happen to be playing. If you've been watching my gameplay videos, that's basically what I've been doing. I've been playing my old combos, doing my own thing, my own game plan, and slowly but surely adding a little bit extra stuff, like adding a Rin where I would normally just do Nagiha, or trying to be a little bit more aggressive after the pin throw, or even Rin, and challenging more things with Far Slash and things like that. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but it's a lot more manageable when I try to incorporate things one at a time instead of trying to start from scratch. But that leads me to tip number 2. Just start from scratch and stop crying. Part of the reason why you're upset is because you have something to compare it to. If you spent a week in training mode and focused on the new stuff, slowly your muscle memory for the old stuff would disappear, and so would your actual memory, and the new stuff will take over. I'm stupid, and I never do this. I opt to just play game after game and get frustrated until I quit or switch characters, or just achieve the same effect of going into training mode for a couple hours. But you don't have to be me, you don't have to be stupid. You could just go to training mode and figure out the new stuff and stop crying about it. If that doesn't work, you get to tip number 3, and that's just to move on. If everything you liked about a character is gone, maybe it's time to move on. Fighting games are interesting that you can go through years without ever branching out and playing a different character. And sometimes that's the thing that make the game fun again. I'm mostly a character loyalist, so I'm going to play Anji for at least casually forever. But if I ever find myself not having any fun, there's still Chip, Leo, Ram, and when Sin comes out, they're all potential alternates for me. And if they're all frustrating to play, I'm just probably going to just drop the game. Like I said earlier, when I played BlazBlue and Persona, my enjoyment was very borderline, because there's a lot to be frustrated about the games. So when they changed my combo routes from iteration, I don't remember which one, and when they did so, they made the game less consistent, or the combos less consistent. It was very easy for me to just drop the game and move back to Guilty Gear or KOF or whatever game it happened to be at the time, I don't remember. And if I recall correctly, in the case of Persona, they even made my character top tier from vanilla to Ultimax. It was Yosuke, by the way. But the changes to the system and the character were so dramatic for me that I didn't really care to continue. I mean, it sucks to drop a game for that reason, but in the end of the day, that's all it is. It's a game we play in our free time. We shouldn't feel obligated to use our precious time playing a game that we no longer enjoy. It almost happened for Under Night when I played Seth, because his execution requirements for basic BNBs were stupidly hard. But I switched to Lynn, and all of a sudden I was having fun again, because her combos are basically dial a combo. So the last point I want to touch on isn't really a tip, but it's related. The reason why we're upset is because when they dropped the patch, they completely blew away the old game that we bought. Sometimes it's for the better, like the patch from vanilla to mid-season patch. But this patch in particular, even if Anji turns out to be better, we lost a lot of what made him fun despite being so bad. I'm sure I'm not alone, but what kept me playing Anji despite him being so bad in Season 1 was partially legacy loyalty from XX, but also because he did so much damage off of a counter hit that all it took was one counter hit or a well-placed call and I'm back in the game. Now, when that happened, the game got really fun and made up for the 3 or 4 games prior where I just got blown out without much of a chance to play. If there was a toggle or a menu option that let me pick which patch I wanted to play, even if it was just for local play, so I could someday come back someday to relive the glory days, or see if I can still execute my old combos, or just show off to a friend about how it used to be, there'd be less to complain about. Also, it's just a courtesy not to completely overwrite the software that we paid for. I mean, like, despite its problems, I bought Vanilla Strive, and I should be able to play it whenever I wanted to, even if the devs decide that there's a better version of the game they'd rather me play. Anyway, that's all I got. I've been making daily videos to capitalize on Season 2's hype, but I think I've basically reached my limit. I'm going to try to get one more video out this week, and then just transition to a twice-a-week deal. Anyway, like and subscribe, and I'll see you later.